Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower studio with Universal Broadcasting Network Radio and TV, and now syndicated on CNBC News Radio for the second year on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and just recently bumped up into iHeartRadio so you can get me anywhere in the United States, and now we're also in over 100 countries. So I can tell that you like being splattered with hope and happiness, because that's what this show's about. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kardashian talk at all. Instead, I want you to live your own reality life with the utmost happiness 88% of the time. And you all know, thanks to my superstar guests like Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh, Don Miguel Ruiz, and Marianne Williamson, I received the 2016 Top 10 Podcast of the Year Award, and I'm pleased to add today's guest to that list of superstars. Lisa Nichols is one of the world's most requested motivational speakers, as well as media personality and corporate CEO, whose global platform has reached and served nearly 30 million people. She's a life coach for the Today Show and the Steve Harvey Show. Please welcome to my studio, Lisa Nichols. All right, welcome, Lisa.
Hi, I'm so excited to be with you.
I'm so excited to have you here. And as I was saying, when I just met her, I met you once before, very briefly, when you came to Agape, I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And then you were just at Agape, and I missed you because I was on my travels to Toronto and New York. But I did live stream you there, and I just told her that she didn't know it, but we're actually sisters because Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith calls both of us sisters. So you didn't know you had an Asian sister, but you do now. So
I'm happy for the family to expand.
There you
excited.
go. There you go. And I have a friend who doesn't have an answering machine. She has a questioning machine. Mm-hmm. And when you call her, she says, "Who are you and what do you want?" So, Lisa Nichols, who are you and what do you want?
I think I would call myself a rebel rouser. I like to consider myself someone who challenges the status quo. I challenge everything ordinary, everything normal, everything settled. So I'm a challenger. Okay. I'm a disruptor of the norm. And what I want is I want to be a vehicle that allows people to break out of stereotypical expectations. And I want to be a catalyst for a new level of defining oneself by one's own terms. So I would say I'm a catalyst, and what I want is to disrupt enough to create enough. I was at a family event recently, and I said, I'm a butterfly, and I love to fly all over the world globally and sprinkle possibility pollen on people.
Oh, I love it.
And yeah, I'm a butterfly. I like to fly all over the globe and sprinkle possibility pollen on people
I love it. I
and
love it.
to disrupt their norms to create their possibility. So that's who I
Beautiful.
am.
Beautiful. Yes, our brother will say, I'm here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable.
Right, right. That's why he's our brother.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And I do that. I try to do that too. Great. And so you didn't start though. I don't know, maybe you did have that spirit, but you certainly weren't in the situation you are now, which is you are on top of the top. You are recognized. You're asked for, sought after to speak and motivate. But I don't know how many years ago you start your talks usually with that you were on public assistance. You had a son who you didn't have money for diapers. This is a big gap between
Yeah.
there and here. So,
Yeah.
so for those who haven't heard your story, it is very inspiring. And I know that there are listeners out there who either have family members or friends or even themselves who are sitting there with no money, on public assistance or not on public assistance, and feeling completely futile, hopeless, helpless. So bring us back to that.
Yes, and I'd love to expand that to there's someone between there and where I am now. That's where the majority of people live. They may not be at that bottom. That was called my rock bottom. And you may not be at the rock bottom, but you're somewhere 40% in and you're kind of wondering, is it ever going to get better? And so I believe that's where I really uh, seek to inspire people to go. If you're anywhere between rock bottom, having $11.42 in the bank, and where I stand today, or beyond me, but where I stand today, then this message is appropriate for you. My life is barely recognizable at this point. There was a point where I was broke and broken. And I often say being broke was easier than being broken. Broke is just a matter of money. It's a financial thing. It's just finding the resources to eliminate your financial status of being broke. Being broken requires you to muster up the strength, the possibility, the belief that you can actually do it, and enough to get up and get off your couch and to trust yourself again, to give yourself permission to take another risk, to give yourself permission to be the brilliant being that you know yourself to be. And so in 1994, actually early 1995, my son was 8 months old, and it was my rock bottom. And I don't think anyone needs to hit your rock bottom to get to rocket boost you either. So let me be very clear: you don't have to feel rock bottom to accelerate. You just need to be inspired enough to want to get up and do the things, say the things you have always been afraid to say, and do the things you've always been afraid to do, so you can be the man, the woman you've always known yourself to be. When I didn't have money to buy my son Pampers and I had to wrap him in a towel for 2 days, I was done. When I looked up and I had to get in the line each holiday to get free turkey and free canned good foods. And when I had to get in line to get WIC, women, infant, and children, free cheese, free pasta, free butter, free milk, I was at a point where I said, enough is enough. So whatever your enough is, whatever that looks like for you, that was my enough. It was enough to go, I don't want to sentence myself to
Right.
another 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years in this reality, and to recognize that I was my own rescue. There was no prince that was going to ride up on a white horse or even drive a white Hyundai. I mean, there was no prince on a white skateboard, on a
Uh-huh.
white bike,
Uh-huh.
that I had to be my own rescue. And it didn't happen overnight. I'm not gonna say I got an aha that dismal day in 1995 and everything changed. No, I got an awakening. I got a call that said, "You deserve better than this. Your life, you're more brilliant than this. Your life does not demonstrate the child of God that you are." And then it was a slow road because I had to convince myself that I was worthy of something better. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't overnight. There were no ceiling opened up and the white
Right.
lights came down and there were chorus singing, oh, and then I got it.
Right.
Not the case.
Right. Did
It
someone
was
come and
down.
say these things to you, or you
No,
literally felt them?
I felt them.
You
No
felt
one
them.
said. I felt them and I witnessed them. I watched people that I didn't know
Uh-huh.
seem to have and harness and own a level of joy that I wanted to have.
Mm.
And they had I would go to places like Agape and I'd see this peace and this joyfulness. And I go, well, what is that? That looks
Mm-hmm.
foreign. What is,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't a sad person, mind you. I was captain of the cheerleading squad, editor of yearbook. I was captain of the track team. And
Mm.
my mom and my dad are amazing people. I have a very tight knit family.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a very strong foundation.
Right.
Just the belief in Lisa, in this mocha skin, full lips, round hips, kinky hair, all my reality of who I am in the world was
Mm-hmm.
all being questioned by me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would watch people and I'd go, I want that peace of mind. And I never really said I want those possessions. I'm not a big, I want that car, I want that house. I wasn't like that. I wanted the joy. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
the what felt like, whether they were faking it or not, I don't even know. But when I saw them,
Right.
they looked awful peaceful and awful happy. And they looked empowered and they looked like they had settled in their own skin. And
Mm.
particularly when I would see women of color and I would see a woman of color, but she owned every essence of her. There was no tiptoeing in a room.
Mm-hmm.
Like she walked in the room and she didn't need to dominate the room. She just was present in the room. And I would always say this, wow, I love the fact that her essence screams so loudly that she never has to open her mouth.
Mouth. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know that. And
Yes.
and I began to emulate people who I saw that in. And I began to follow people who had that. I began to raise my hand and say, can you teach me what you know? And something was wildly consistent with all these people.
Mm-hmm.
They all had something to say. And
Uh-huh.
they all had done some kind of work. And
Right.
they all had to go somewhere to get it. And they had to read something. They had to study something and they had to do something. And the
Mm-hmm.
majority of them were very generous to
Mm-hmm.
tell me what they studied, what they read, and what they did. And then
Mm-hmm.
I became a master student.
Right. Right. So, but I guess the people who are listening and are still saying, yeah, but that's you and you're strong and, you've always had that strength in you. But, I grew up in I wasn't the cheerleader. I was always the odd man out or odd woman out. I always was the one left behind. And I just cannot see, every time I have a relationship, I get abandoned or taken or kicked or stolen from. And I just give up. What do you say to someone who comes like that?
Well, now you know me, Doc. Now you watch what
You're
you
going to
ask
say,
for.
yes, yes.
Right. You know me. So, I'm going to say, first of all, I was a cheerleader and captain of the track team because I was trying to prove to people that I was good enough.
Mm,
So
mm-hmm,
I'm not so caught up in what you do or what you don't do. I'm more caught up on why you do what you do.
okay.
So, so I'm very clear.
Uh-huh.
And at my 25-year reunion, I was a keynote speaker and I exposed myself that I was all those things in school because I just wanted to be liked because I didn't like Lisa.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
so I didn't do those things out of my strength. I
I
did those things
see.
out of my neediness,
Okay.
out
All
of my
right.
neediness to be approved and to be
Mm-hmm,
validated by others.
mm-hmm,
So when whatever you think you are, you're right. Right. And what I would say to you is who you've thought yourself to be up until this very moment right here,
mm-hmm.
really, let's say that doesn't amount to anything because
That,
it's already done. I'm going to ask you, who are you willing to begin to believe yourself to be now?
mm-hmm.
Because we have a tendency to forget that we have the ability to press reset, that
Yes.
we get 1,000 second chances, 1,000 second chances. And
Mm-hmm,
every time we get to 999, we get to press reset.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We get 1,000 second chances.
Yeah.
And then to recognize, I just got to say this, that when you're attracting hurtful relationships, when you're attracting people who use you and abuse you, when you're attracting people who are dominating and controlling, when you attract situations that when you attract that, it's not that you're the victim of life happening to you, because in every relay there's a relay. So as much as I can give you the list of people I felt betrayed me and didn't treat me right, I can also give you a list of moments when I
Yes.
felt like something wasn't going right and
Mhm.
I didn't give myself permission to deserve something. Is it scary? Yes. But when you draw a line in the sand and you say, hold on,
Mhm.
this is my worth.
Yeah.
Now that requires you to do two things. One, to know your worth.
Mhm.
And if you don't know your worth, and there was a time I gotten into an abusive relationship. I signed up for it. I didn't know it was going to be abusive. I also stayed
Mhm.
because I wasn't loving Lisa enough, and I was in a emotionally and a relationship that emotionally abusive relationship that became physically abusive, and then I got myself out of it. I realized in that moment when I got out that I had forgotten who Lisa was. I was diagnosed as clinically depressed.
Hmm.
And I heard the word depressed, clinically depressed, and Lisa Nichols in the same sentence. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on, hold on.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's not who I am.
Mhm.
And yet it was who I had become out of circumstances. So I knew that if I shifted the circumstances, I can shift my reality. So to you, if you want to shift your circumstances,
Yes.
um, and when you shift your circumstance, you can shift your reality. So what I did was, and I'm gonna give you very practical steps, doctor.
Good.
What I did was, I realized I had forgotten who Lisa was. So
Mhm.
then I went, what's a reminder for me? So I need visual reminders. So number one, I got into words and affirmations that I could read about myself. I did number two. I actually wrote affirmations personalized for me where I modified the affirmation that I was reading into one that was far more customized for me. I put them on the yellow post-it notes, the yellow post-it notes. I posted them all around my house, my bathroom mirror, my refrigerator, everywhere that I frequented, on the back of my bedroom door, on my headboard of my bed,
Mhm.
on the back of my front door to remind me who I was.
And
I
so
had
give me
forgotten.
3 of those. Give me 3
Absolutely.
Post-its.
Absolutely.
You
Now
are
you have to remember, I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's all right. Go ahead.
You have to remember, I did these post-it notes when my son was 3 years old. My son turns 22. So I love the fact that you want me to give you some because I remember those.
Good.
I remember them from when my son was 3 years old because they were my oxygen.
Right. Right.
So so one post-it note in the bathroom, and oh, by the way, I themed my post-it notes. I themed the post-it notes in the area that I put it in my house. So all the bathroom post-it notes was about me validating who I am as a person and my beauty.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
On the back of my bedroom door and on my headboard was the healthy love I deserve.
So I deserve healthy love.
So I said, I deserve long-term healthy love.
Okay.
And then on the back, on the window, one of the mirrors in my bathroom, I said, God created my beauty to be unique to me only.
Hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah. And on the refrigerator, one of the things I put on is my body is my temple and I choose to honor it on all levels. And on the back of the front door,
You do
and I'm
remember
pointing,
these.
and I'm pointing to my front door because I'm at my house. On the
Yeah.
back of my front door, I put, I'm ready to serve the world and the world's ready to be served by me.
Beautiful. Very powerful. Very powerful. And were there any times when you looked at that and went, who am I trying to fool here? Like
Absolutely.
really, really
Absolutely.
come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely, girl.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heck
I
yeah.
asked that same question to Marianne Williamson. I asked her, do you ever have that voice in your head that says, who do you think you are? And what do you, and and there was this long pause and she
Uh-huh.
goes, no. And I went, okay, I want to get to that point because I still have that voice in my
Right.
head and I
Right.
still,
Right.
I want to believe it. And
Right.
88% of the time I do believe it,
Right.
you know.
No, not my
So,
experience.
okay.
Listen, I'm going to tell you on a real day what I do, and I'm not a superhero, and I don't want to have anyone believe I'm a superhero
Mhm.
because then it lets you off the hook. I'm an ordinary woman who chooses every day to make a number of extraordinary decisions.
I got to write that down and put it on my mirror.
Exactly, because then it allows me to live in my duality and to be okay. I'm not. I love Marion, and that's her experience.
Yeah.
But I would be lying to if I told you I didn't have that little doubting diva in my head. The difference between me and most people is that doubting moment doesn't last as long. And I have created tools in my life to minimize the doubt into the nothingness that it always was. That's
Thank
for me.
you.
That's my journey.
That was powerful for me. Woo!
Yes,
That's what I
yes,
love about choosing my guests.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
doing it for me.
right, exactly, and everyone else gets to witness.
That's
Everyone else
right.
gets to witness. Right. I tell people I do personal development workshops so that I can attend them all.
I love it.
So
I love it.
so yeah, there are times when I look at it and I go, I have this moment of and then I refute that with no, there's a reason why that's who I know myself to be. Now, what sometimes I wonder who I am, but replace the wonder with the knowing and you'll always be okay. So in my dark moments, and I say in my dark moments, I don't say when I used to have them, because I still have them.
Okay.
They're just flashes now. They're
Yeah.
not, I don't take out real estate in my dark moments. I don't do a
Beautiful.
lease option buy. I don't do a rent to own. I don't take
You're
out
not
down
squatting
for
there.
exactly. I'm not a squatter there. I pass through. I do a rolling stop like a
Drive
California
by.
stop sign. I do a rolling stop. So,
That's beautiful. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
having one of those dark moments, and I'd been at Agape a couple of years, and I passed my brother in the hallway, and I just blurted out. I said, I'm not feeling good, and I don't know what's wrong, and da 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 da. And I thought he was going to go read page da 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 in spiritual liberation and da da da. And he goes, "Oh, I had one of those last night," and I'm like, "What?"
Yes,
That
yes.
changed my
Everything.
whole.
Because it
Yeah,
gives you permission
yeah,
to have it. It
yeah,
gives you
yeah,
permission
yeah.
to be
Absolutely,
brilliant,
absolutely.
brilliant and clueless, to be powerful and have a moment of a fear storm. I always say, listen, I don't wait for my fear to end in order to move because I don't know when it's going to end. I've gotten comfortable moving while I'm afraid.
Wow. Yeah.
Like when you get the beauty of that to go, I feel you. I'm not going to stop because you're here. I'm going to keep going because action dissipates fear. I'm going to get a little intimate with you.
All
So
right.
my granddaughter, my goddaughter has a daughter. So she's my god granddaughter. She's giving me all these little fake tattoos. So she gave me this fake tattoo and it's on my arm and it says action cures fear.
Wow.
And I've been having this little tattoo on all weekend. It's going to
That's
come off
so
soon.
cute.
And I love it because it's the truth. Action cures fear. So I've learned how to not avoid being fearful because it just comes. I've learned how to live, move, and produce in the face of fear until the fear dissipates into the nothingness that it always was.
That's great. So when I am feeling fat and ugly, or when I'm feeling not good enough, I just let it drive by and act in a way that is contrary to that, and not sit and marinate in that belief system that is truly BS. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Energy grows where energy goes. And
Yes.
so, number one, don't give it energy. And people, where people get confused here is they think not thinking about it is giving it energy. So you try to not think about it, where you're actually thinking about it, trying to not think about it,
Right. Right.
because
Right.
you're
Right.
focused on not thinking about it. How
Right.
about you go to the opposite, what you just said, and go, what can I grow and expand? What can I grow and where can I put my attention and my energy that I can grow and expand? Which is why I tell people when you're going through a challenging time, start serving others. Go be a blessing to someone else. If you're going through something challenging, be a blessing to someone else. Go, whether it's just cooking someone. I do what I'm a big server. I love serving. So when I'm going through an emotional challenge or I'm with someone and they're going through an emotional challenge. I go into service. You would be blown away at what I will do at someone's house when they have a loss of a loved one or something. I clean for them. I cook for them. I go grocery shopping for them. I organize their back, little things that will make their life a little more simpler. I also do it when I'm in a challenging time for myself. When I'm going through something, I go, okay, what can I do? I go to my grandmother's house. And I don't go to my grandmother's house and sit on her couch and complain. I go to
Right.
my grandmother's house and I cook her about 2 really great meals and I watch her eat them and I watch her enjoy them. And that, just that moment of service, that moment of gives her a little bit
That's
and
a
gives me
great,
something.
yeah, that's a great practical solution for ruminating.
Yes, yes,
Quit
yes, yes,
thinking, and I love that saying, willingness without action is a fantasy. So
yes,
we
yes.
got to get into the action. So I have a couple of questions from listeners that they fed me before. So I'm gonna give, this is for Richard from Florida. I'm 19 and terribly unhappy. I feel hopeless most of the time and don't know what to do. I've tried antidepressants and side effects have led me to even more suicidal thoughts. I wasn't physically abused, but my parents are controlling. I'm confused and don't see the point of life.
Hmm. So tell me his name.
Richard.
Richard. So, Richard, I have worked with a lot of people who have been suicidal. And we've helped on record over 353 people who were suicidal choose life. And I will hold the space that you will be 3,054.
Beautiful.
And number one, to recognize that what you're feeling and what you're experiencing in the premise of your entire life. You're 19, and the premise of your entire life, it's 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 a now problem now. It's a real problem, but it's a now problem now. And suicide is a long-term forever solution to just a now problem now. And so let's create something that gives you the opportunity to see a light on the other side, because the current answer, and I was 19. When I was 19, I was suicidal. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I do share it. I was suicidal at 19 when I had a memory recall of something very traumatic to me. I became suicidal. And what I realized was that I didn't want to die. And Richard, you don't want to die. You simply want the pain to stop. And so when you make that distinction, you don't want to die. You want the pain to stop. You want the discomfort to stop, not the pain to die, not for you to die. You want the pain to stop. So then let's begin to look at, how do we make the pain stop? Based on your age at 19, you're in a situation where you live in your environment and then you live within your parents' environment, and it feels as if there is no out, but there is an out. One out is that you're emerging into your own man, and innately you will be able to live your own journey. I know it doesn't feel that way when you have very controlling parents, as you referred to, but the case of the matter is you will be able to live your own life. And to realize, what are the blessings you have? Whenever I was in the place of really, really dark sadness, I made a list, and I know this may sound light, but I had to make a list of what was I grateful for, and the list that I was grateful for could not cost more than $25. And I came up with a list of 15 things every morning before I got out of bed. I'm going to invite you to do that. I'm going to invite you to do mirror exercise. And I did this mirror exercise. I did this mirror exercise as a way to get my own oxygen. And so I want you today to start doing it every day. It's when I was diagnosed clinically depressed. That's what I also did. The first sentence in the mirror I want you to do, and at the end of each sentence, I want you to give 7 endings to each sentence. You're going to get 3 different sentences, and I want you to give 7 different endings. And I just want you to feel how they make you feel. It's not going to shift anything with your parents. It's not going to have them stop being more as controlling when you leave out of the bathroom from doing the mirror work. They will be the same probably, but it will make you feel a lot better about tolerating it. So all I want to do is fill your cup up, because your cup is empty. So we're going to fill your cup up so that you have that substance, that sustenance to get you through this season. We're not going to change the season, but we're going to build your resiliency to get you through the season. So the first sentence is, you look in your own eyes and you say, Richard, I forgive you for. And anyone else doing this, say your own name. And I'm sorry, I apologize. The first sentence is, I'm proud of you. I'm proud that you. So Richard, I'm proud that you. So the first thing is to do, celebrate yourself. Richard, I'm proud that you. I did this coming out of an abusive relationship, and all I can say is, I'm proud that you got up today. Lisa, I'm proud that you sought help. Lisa, I'm proud that you reached out to someone. Lisa, I'm proud that today you're thinking about living. And so so it's a crawl. It's a crawl. But we're going to turn your crawl into a walk and your walk into a run. And then, Richard, we will turn your run into a soar. The first sentence is, I'm proud that you. 7 different endings that you can be proud of. 7 different endings. And it may be difficult because you got to reach out, but there's 7 different things. And you can go all the way back. You can go back 10 years. But when you celebrate yourself, celebration fills your coffers with something that feels a lot better than regret and victimhood. The second sentence is one that it knocked me down. I'm not sure what it'll do for you, but it knocked me down, but it's necessary. The second sentence is where you cut the shackles of blame, shame, guilt, regret, and anger. And that is where you say, Richard, I forgive you for. And when I did it, I said, Lisa, I forgive you for getting in an abusive relationship. Lisa, I forgive you for lowering your integrity bar. Lisa, I forgive you for wanting to kill yourself. Lisa, I forgive you for isolating yourself from everyone and shutting everyone out when you needed people. So
powerful.
Yeah, you're cutting the shackles of shame, blame, guilt, regret, and anger. Cut the shackles, Richard. Then the third and final sentence is a bold declaration to you. Richard, I commit to you that. And when I did it, I said, Lisa, I commit to you that today I will stand in my gratitude versus my sadness. Lisa, I commit to you that today I will say yes when it feels good, and I will say no when I need to say no. Lisa, I commit to you that I'll keep living. I'll keep living. I'll see this one through. I'll give you a chance. Because if I commit suicide now, I'm not giving you a chance, Lisa. So I commit to you that I will keep living. So every day, Richard, have 7 different things you're proud of. And every day have 7 different things you forgive yourself for. And every day have 7 different things that you commit to yourself. Now, each day, you can repeat the same things you said the day before.
Right.
But each day just has 7 different things. But each day, I said the same thing. For 6 months, I did this exercise. Every single morning, I did this exercise. But see, I was fighting for my life.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're fighting for your life as well. So I recommend every single day for 6 months. And if 6 months seems too much, give me 21 days, Richard. And then if you can give me 21 days, then see if you'll be willing to give me 90 days. And when something will happen and will turn in you. And you'll begin to trust you more, believe in you. And it's not about changing your environment. It's about modifying who you're being in your environment. And then innately the ripple effect will be that your environment will begin to look different. I promise you, when you change you. We can't change your parents. They've been practicing and living who they are for years. But we can change the dynamic of who you are in that experience.
And now I understand why my big brother, Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, loves you so much. And now I understand why you are just incredibly powerful, because you have lived this so intimately that there's nothing to gloss over. There's nothing to make up. It is truly... thank you so much. And I know that that whole set we just did, or you just did, is going to help so many people out there. I know Richard's watching right now, and there's nothing else you need to want to live. So, and with that, I cannot not give you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award, that I don't give to every guest of mine. I have to say.
You.
But
Thank you.
I'm blown away. I'm truly grateful. I'm truly proud to have the ability to have you on and to hear all of this. And if you missed any of this, we'll be playing it again on my CNBC News Radio channel. But if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who is just the most inspiring and phoenix-ic person that I have on the air today, it is Lisa Nichols, whose life and words and her role and beneficial presence on the planet is truly one that she's lived it. And you are tuned in. We have a short break now to thank the sponsor of today's show. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out.
No way! I'm so cold. I'm so hot. I'm so hungry. I'm so full.
Did that complaining sound familiar to you? Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, your cheerleader for hope and happiness 88% of the time. And they also call me the Asian Oprah. Well, I have a perfect app for you if you want to lose negative weight and stop complaining. Yes, the 21-day Fast from Complaining with Dr. Marissa app is now available. Every day you'll get a balanced tip that keeps you from complaining, as well as some sound effects. If you do complain and you press a button, it will give you sound to keep you from complaining. And if you make it the entire day without complaining, you'll get a nice warm. And there's a YouTube link also to help you not complain. And then at the end of the 21 days, because it takes 21 days to create a good habit, you'll get an overall score as well as a way to post your triumph with your friends and family on Facebook. So don't complain, have fun, and remember it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Peace in, peace out.
And welcome back. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at Naturally High Noon, Universal Broadcasting Network, out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California, and syndicated every Thursday and Saturday on my CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5. And today we are truly blessed to have Lisa Nichols motivating the masses on the air with me. She is Skyping in from her home and has just blessed us with a fabulous, very practical step on how to go from not wanting to live to finding the truth about who you are as a precious, beautiful, fabulous child of the universe. And I'm just so great. And I thought like there's 5 more questions, which we're not going to get to. We have, and then I do want, because you're from LA and with what's all going on, I did want to ask what you thought the solution was to our race relations. So let's get to that first. And then if we have time, another question. So I think I'm going to have a whole day with you sometime.
We can make that happen.
That'd be great. So yeah, you grew up in Inglewood, and so you were, front and center to some of the stuff that's going on. And, now we've got the entire nation. I just came back from Toronto and there were demonstrations there on Black Lives Matter. And we don't seem to be getting any closer to solutions. In fact, with Donald Trump's popularity, it seems that we're getting even further. So if you could change anything, or if you were the hired consultant right now to the States, to LA, to the mayor, what would your recommendations be? Small.
Right. I think the challenge is that we consider disruption to be wrong, and our relationship to disruption is that it means fight. And number one is to look for what's healthy conflict. And there's such thing as healthy conflict. If you don't have healthy conflict in your relationship or in your business, then actually it's a slow death of the business or relationship because someone's not speaking up. So number one is to allow healthy conflict to be okay, and then it's not wrong, and then it doesn't create negative conflict.
Okay.
I know that
Unhealthy
sounds
conflict.
it sounds bizarre, but if we invite in opposing conversations, and then we take it out of, and I know this sounds a bit wild, but if we ask, what do you need as a black person or as a white person or as an Asian person or as a Latino person or as an Indian person? What do you need? Because you don't need black things. We don't need Asian things. We need something beyond that. So it's respect or and then how do you define that? What does that look like? Like it's all so intangible right now, and it's living in don't do us wrong.
Right.
And I'm African American, so I'm inside that conversation intimately. I think any human being has to be right now. But what does doing right look like? And if you look at it, there's no energy on what doing right looks like. There's no energy. It's just not doing wrong or polarizing the wrong that's being done. And it's at such a cellular level that it's within our government. It's within our police department. It's within our churches. It's within our school system. It's within that if we got to a core of what does doing right look like? If I were the consultant, I'd say to this body of people, what does doing right look like? And can we create an initiative of doing right and enough of that? And then can we blanket it across enough platforms where we can feel it on a global or
level.
US. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
it's very simple. We love complicating things that we have no intention on ever taking action on. We love complicating things that we have no intention on ever. And if we leave it ambiguous enough, hell, no one knows if we ever took action on anyway because it's too ambiguous.
Right, right.
What does
right.
doing right look like? So if we talked about and I'm very direct, so
Really?
I'm going, yeah, so if we go, if we're dealing with Latin America, or we're dealing with the Hispanic population, and we gave 10 things of what does doing right by you feel like. And now I want you to know people will naturally begin to say, don't do this. No, 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 no. Don't tell me what not to do. Tell me what to do. Because I want to expand the top line versus trying to decrease the bottom line. Right? And I talk about that in my book, Abundance Now, that abundant thinkers, which we're thinking scarcity right now.
Yes.
Abundant thinkers think more about what do you want to grow versus what do you want to shrink. And so what do you want to grow? So then I go to my Asian population and I go, what does doing right by you? What does it look like? And then my African American community, then my white community, and then my women. And then my teens.
What if they are conflicting what you want? What I want conflicts with what you want, which is some of the...
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
If you tell me what feels good to you as an Asian woman, it cannot conflict with me as an African American woman because that's what feels good to you. We're negotiating what feels right to people. Now, how doable it is. I have a right to accept your proposal, refuse your proposal, or counter propose.
Okay.
Now, where the conflict is that we're refusing or we're trying to, or we're refusing or we're negating. I can't negate what makes you feel right.
Okay.
That's where everyone, excuse the expression, but that's where everyone's getting pissed off, is that you're trying to tell me what feels right for me as an African American. You can't tell me that. All you can do is acknowledge that feels right for you. Okay, I accept that.
Right.
Here's what I can do. I can't do that, but here's what I can do. Counter propose me.
Okay.
And so what's happening is people feel disrespected. And this is all about respect and acknowledgement. People feel disrespected when you don't acknowledge what I said matters to me, really matters to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
It's so non-complicating that we've made it super complicating because if we make it as clear as it is, we'd have to take action.
Right.
And the relationship to taking action is there's a correlation between if I take action, I'm releasing power. And this is really not a power thing. This is about a humanity. It's about humanity living together, learning how to live together. And as society, the only emotion that we've been authorized to show publicly is anger.
Yeah.
That's the only emotion, especially when you bring men into it.
Yeah.
That's the anger and aggression and authority. And so if we back from that and go, listen, what feels good to you to have an experience? But it feels like we're surrendering power to ask that question. So if I were the consultant, number one, I'd say get over your damn ego. But how about we not let egos and she-goes, it's not just men, egos and she-goes drive this conversation.
Yeah.
How about if I ask the question, what does it look like to honor the dignity of your human spirit? What does it look like? And then I make a list of 10 things that you said, and I make everyone's list of 10, women, men, Asian, Black, Latino. I lay them out. And then from that, I draft how we're going to move forward.
That's excellent, excellent. Now the practical, my yes, but what I've heard is if I want, as a young black man, I want the respect or the right to be able to drive my car without being pulled over and profiled and accused of a crime that I didn't do. That's what I want. That's how I define my respect. And then a police would say, well, I want the right to keep my neighborhood and do my job to keep it safe. And so when I know that there is someone with your description that is has robbed or raped or whatever it is, then I want to be respected to do my job. So that's for me an example of they both want that, but there's some conflict in it.
Well, I actually don't think it's conflict, and I think they both have a right to do it. I don't think it's the act of doing; it's the how you do it.
Okay.
It's the how you do it, and then to say, I want to know that the very same treatment that I'm getting is across the board.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think we have to do anything. I don't think we have to want anything. We just have to implement what we want in a manner that feels as if it's respectful to all parties.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's when it feels lopsided and incongruent. It's when you feel like a person of color that you have to work 3 times as hard.
Mm-hmm.
You have to jump 3 times as high to give the same equal treatment.
Yeah.
I think it's, I think it's, but also I think it's a cellular level shift. I think it's a shift that doesn't start from the behavior. It's a shift that starts from the root of the tree, that our mindset is a mindset. And I might get a lot of opposition for what I'm about to say, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable in my opinions.
Really? I
And
thought
that
I
is-
was. You definitely have that one down.
I am. And a lot of times we talk as people of color, and I won't just group with African Americans because I have a lot of friends who are of many nationalities, and we have similar conversations. We talk about not having the same opportunity as non-people of color, as white people. And I get that. That is one part of it.
Right.
But the other part is, are we operating in a sense of worthiness? That we deserve the same opportunity? Or are we just pushing because we don't have it? Because there have been plenty of opportunities that have crossed my path in past years where I didn't feel like I was worthy of that opportunity. And it wasn't because of my geographical origin. It was because of I was a Black woman. And so let's work on both sides.
Absolutely.
Let's work on shifting the consciousness of white America to recognize the contribution and the equality and all of the wonderful things that we get to expand. Nothing that we need to stop, because if you expand, if you focus on expanding something, the other part has to naturally reduce.
Yes.
So from the space of contribution and give and service and equality and all of that. And then on this side, let's make sure we're working on our worth, because we were also taught things by our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-great-grandfathers. We were taught a fight. We were taught everything's not equal. We were taught we have these seated, rooted mindset as well that's not helping the interrelation to occur. So it's both sides. It's I hear you saying Black Lives Matter, and you're right. But in the dark of the day, do you recognize what that means? Do you recognize what that means about the way that you need to show up? I recognize how I need to show up, doctor, not only when I step out of my front door, but when I'm in my room. I was just negotiating a contract this morning with my attorney, and it's a really big contract for me. And I said, while I can negotiate on the side that makes me the most money, and I know you'll fight for that, I want to negotiate on the side that feels good for everyone involved. He said, that's going to cost you a few $1 million. I said, I'm okay. It's not money I've made yet. I'm okay to give that money to someone if it makes the deal feel really good to everyone involved. And I think that a part of the responsibility on the police officer side is to go, what feels fair when I'm doing my job? But also on the part of the young Black man's side, it's also to say, and what must I do as an African American male to live the conversation that Black Lives Matter before I get pulled over and after I get pulled over?
Beautiful. And I hope you don't get flack for that, because that is all about balance, which is my song. And I absolutely am. I'm definitely have to have you come back. Will you come back? Because
And
this
I will.
conversation, I have to end the show right now because I'm going to get yelled
we're
at.
out of time.
But how do we find you? Because I know there are people that are going to want to definitely land in your camp. You do programs. You've got a teen spirit. You've got an abundance book. You've got a workshop coming back.
I want to give you a gift because I love this conversation. I love you. You are the bomb.com girlfriend. I love you. I love you, Doc. I love you. So I want to give a gift to everyone listening.
Okay.
And that is, if you go to, I teach people to own their voice, on every level.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a training coming up right around the corner, and it's called Speak and Write Workshop. So Speak, SPEAK, and AND, Speak and Write. WRITE, Speak and Write Workshop.
Okay.
So if you go to speakandwriteworkshop.com, you will see this 3-day phenomenal training. But I want to give everyone that's listening, believe it or not, everyone that's listening, free access to come and join us on live stream. All of our tickets on live stream have been sold up until this point, and we have a full packed house. But I'd love to give it as a gift to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
and so
you.
Yeah, so if you go to speakandwriteworkshop.com and then put in / M as in Mary, V as in Victor. So M as in Mary, V as in Victor, you'll get a backdoor pass to come in and register for free.
Yeah.
And it happens on the 3rd week of October, and it'll be a full house. There'll be people there from about 37 different countries that we know of thus far. And it's a sold out event. And it's where I teach you how to own your voice, use your voice, discover your story, use your story, stand on your story, not in your story.
Beautiful. And that is the Asian Oprah giveaway. So thank you so much, Lisa Nichols. I'm so blessed. We have to sign off now, but thank you so much. Speak and Write workshop.com for the free Backstreet classes. And then Lisa Nichols, you Google her, you'll find her everywhere. And the last thing, very short balance bar today. I will tell you that we are on round 64 of the 21-day fast from complaining. Today is day 4. So the tip of today is anger is only one letter away from danger. And as Deepak Chopra says, that anger is one of the 2 emotions that will make your body unhealthy, anger and hostility, but peace, love, and creativity will get your cells to function in harmony. So be careful. Don't complain in anger, but find something creative to do. Be in peace and love. Next week, it is that time of the month. I'll be back from Peru with lots of pictures, so don't miss the show. And in November 12th, I'm doing another Balance Tai Qigong workshop. Go to my website, www.balance.org for details. And we'll be doing call-ins with Balancing Your Life Tires. Sign up with my call-in producer, Jarvis Essex, Essex 13 at AOL.com, so you don't have to wait in line, because I'm Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. So tune in next week for another great episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
It is before the dawn.